Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Laura Parrish, better known as the hashtag TNS Team No Sleep team leader and founder. It is Sunday, May 29th, 2016 at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern. I'm checking over here on my other laptop to make sure that we are indeed live and that you can see us and you can hear us. It is Yep, and you can hear my computer over there, so let me mute that out. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the call tonight. I have a few panelists with me. I have Mr. Chris, a.k.a. Pops, coming to you tonight. I also have Katie and Miss Teresa as well, along with myself. I had a couple other people that might be hopping on, not really sure, but we're here to talk about something super important tonight. We're here to talk about brick and mortar businesses versus online businesses. Now, if you are out there watching this right now, you may already own your own business. You may already own a brick and mortar business, or you may work online. Or you might be someone who doesn't have their own business yet, but is possibly interested in having and running your own business, but you're not really sure how to go about it, what's the best route to go, so on and so forth. So what we want to do tonight, our goal tonight, is to educate you, to provide you with information and our experiences, to share those things so that you can make an informed decision about what you feel will work best for you inside of your life, for yourself and for your family. And so that's what we're here to do tonight. We're super excited to be with you. I have to up front apologize because I'm got this head cold thing going on and have been going into coughing fits. So if you see me disappear, one of these other lovely panelists will take over until my coughing fit dissipates. You guys know how it is when you're sick with head colds. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming on tonight and watching us live, or if you're watching the replay, make sure that you put any comments or questions in the chat area. And we're happy to keep an eye on them. Katie's really good about checking out chat and talking to people as well. And if you're ready to join us in what we're talking about, you can just click the Join Now button, and you'll be getting started with whoever invited you to this call. Now, we do this every single Sunday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and this replay will be up until next Sunday night at 9. So feel free to invite anyone on your newsletter or social media to come back to this page and check it out. Now, I want to put the disclaimer out there that we are not here, our purpose is not to bash people who have jobs. We know, understand, and appreciate employees. After all, if it weren't for people who were passionate about being doctors and lawyers and veterinarians and all the other amazing things and jobs that we have in this world, then who would take care of us when we got sick? Who would take care of our animals? Who would run businesses like restaurants when we wanted to go out to eat because we just didn't feel like cooking, right? So we appreciate each and every person. The only thing that we are trying to impress upon people is to do what you're passionate about, whatever that is. We happen to be passionate about being online business owners, but tonight we're sharing with you the difference between brick and mortar businesses versus online businesses, and these panelists that I have on here with me tonight are going to share their experience because they've all owned and partaken in brick and mortar businesses. So without further ado, I want to get started. And like I said, if you've ever contemplated owning your own biz, maybe it was because you were tired of building someone else's dream. Maybe you were interested in building your own dream. And when we say brick and mortar, we mean an actual physical standalone business where you have, people actually come and open the door, right? Can go through a door and see what products or services that you offer to them versus working online. There are a lot of things about brick and mortar businesses that you have that you don't necessarily have as much of, at least with online businesses, such as startup costs, the overhead of actually renting a space, utilities and things like that, liability for having to have insurance to cover, what you're doing, and if you have employees, the time consumption that it takes, and probably the biggest thing is the lack of time freedom, and the fact that if your business isn't open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, then you can't earn money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whereas working online, your business works for you even when you're sleeping, right? You might have seen a lot of people who on social media will be like, oh, I made X amount of dollars, while I was sleeping, or I know I made X amount of dollars while I was mowing the lawn, because when you have marketing links out there, they work for you. even when you're not physically in front of your computer, because, you know, when it's 12 o'clock in my time, it might be, you know, 12 in the morning somewhere else across the world, and somebody might be seeing something that I put up at a different time. So that's one of the amazing things about working online. Excuse me. So the example I want to use before I pass it off to Katie, and I'm going to start with Katie tonight because she has to pop off at 10 o'clock, and I want to be considerate of her time that she's allotted for us. But I want to talk about just picking a franchise, okay? So let's say that you're tired of working for the man and building someone else's dream, and you really want to franchise a business because you think that it will bring you into big profit, big money, and it'll be beneficial for your family. So I'm just going to pick a random franchise, okay? I'll use McDonald's because everybody knows what McDonald's is, right? And that's a pretty good one to pick because everyone knows what it is. You think it'd be pretty easy to make a lot of money because everybody loves McDonald's, right? It's all over the world. It's not just United States. But let me explain something to you that you might not think about. If you have a brick and mortar business, you have to go to a bank and apply for a loan. And the loan that you have to get just to be able to build the building, however much that costs, $250,000, $500,000, on top of the loan that you need to get to buy the property to build the building on, I mean, that's just one piece of the cost, hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars that you've got to get approved for through a bank. And let's say you get all that done and you've got your building up and all that good stuff, but what happens when you hire employees and you have to pay your employees and insurance and all that stuff? Here's the deal. McDonald's will tell you what kind of French fries you got to buy, right? Buy these fries from this company. They'll tell you what kind of meat you have to buy. They'll tell you what kind of buns you have to buy, all that stuff, because it doesn't matter if you go to a McDonald's in Europe or if you go to McDonald's in Virginia, you should get the same thing because it's consistent. You have to buy the same types of inventory to serve. But here's what I want you to think about. McDonald's is not going to come in and buy those things for you. They're going to tell you what your inventory needs to be, but you are still expected to buy your inventory. Not only are you expected to buy it, you have to market it. They're not going to come in and sell it for you. You have to sell it and maintain it. So it's a big deal. It's a huge responsibility. And that's one of the things that I want you to consider is the cost of inventory, your overhead costs, paying your bills every single month, just to be able to keep the business running, as they say, keep the lights on. And here's something big. What if your employees don't show up for work? Who's got to go? You do, right? Because if you want your business to run and you have employees who don't show up, then you're stuck. And as my friend Teresa talked about before we started this call, and I've said it before too, you're literally married to your business, unnecessarily wanting to be. Now, I'm married to my business, but I love what I do, right? Because I get to do it from home whenever I feel like it. So anyway, without further ado, I want to hand it over to Miss Katie Stage. Katie, if you could come on and share your experience with running a brick and mortar business and how you were married to your job, and the things that you did and what it costs you, you know, financially, mentally, time-wise, things like that. I'd certainly appreciate it. Please welcome Miss Katie Stage.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laura, for this opportunity to share the difference between the opportunity that we have here now as owning a business online where we can actually be literally work anywhere, okay? So the franchise that I owned was actually a judgment recovery service. Now, in my past, I actually have been a process server, so I was at the door giving people some papers, which led me to judgment recovery service because, you know, that wasn't really a franchise yet. I was kind of walking into that position where I just wanted to get away from that man, right? So I purchased this franchise, which I found in a magazine, okay, and it was a few $100, and luckily I had the cash with me. I didn't have to walk to the bank to go get it, which is good. It was an investment that I knew that I wanted to make because I knew that the return was going to be good, because if you don't know what judgments are, it's basically when somebody sues you for money and they go through the court system and they basically get a judgment against you. And it's there forever until someone actually, if you know what you're doing, then you can put a lien on it and all this other stuff. So I started the business, and they're there forever. Okay, so it's unlimited amounts of people who have judgments against them, because, you know, it just sucks how some people just can't pay each other, you know, and figure stuff out, so they have to like sue each other. So I started this business, and not really knowing exactly what I got myself into because I know I wanted to not work for somebody else. So I know I wanted to do that. So this was like one step closer to what I'm doing currently now, which is a lot more freedom, and I'll get that in a second. So I started this business, and so I had this packet that I had. I basically bought the material, and that's just the material so I can learn how to do this judgment business. And so I started and I learned, and what I had to do is I actually had to go to the court physically, go through the public files. Okay, they're public for the public, so I can actually go to the court, ask the receptionist, hey, I'd like to look at these files. There's scripts that I was told to go to go there and ask for these files. They brought me back, and I got to look through all these files, and they actually, what they did is I said how, like a number or whatever, like A through B or A through C or something like that or whatever, and then a file number or something. This was like 10 years ago. I can't quite remember the process. So I asked her to go do that. What she had to go do was go in the back room, grab this stack of files, sit me down on a desk, and plop. And I had to physically go through every single piece of paper that was a judgment to see if it was satisfied, how much it was, what they owed, and who are the people. So I had to physically write down, and I can't copy, because if I wanted to copy, physical copy, I'd actually have to pay a certain amount of money, like maybe it was 10 cents or 25 cents a copy. So I actually had a notebook that I wrote everything down by hand, what their name was, how much they owe, what the last known address is. So I spent hours at the court, hours writing this stuff down as much as I could until my hand was cramped. So then what I did with that information is I took it home and I started to solicit the not the people who sued I forgot the word now. Is it defendant and then
the debtee.
The what's that?
The debtee.
Yeah,
that's the debtor and the debtee.
Yeah, so the debtee is the one that the debtor is the one I solicited, so I can say, hey, you got a judgment out there, that person owes you that judgment, I can help you, I have this service. And what my motto was is that for my service, that is 50% flat rate, 50%. Whatever I take, I get 50% off the bat, and they get paid their judgment after that. And my motto was like, you get 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing, because that's just a piece of paper that's sitting in the court system, anyways. So so when what I had to do is I had to buy envelopes, I had to buy stamps, I had to, this was not online completely. I knew that I wanted to do something online, and this was kind of close, but I didn't know anything about network marketing or whatsoever at this point. I had no clue. So anyways, so what I had to do is I had to mail and solicit these people. So if they hired me, and what I had to do after they hired me was I had these forms that I filled out, which is available in the court system, but I had to know how to fill those out. So it's a learning process, right? So I go through the paperwork, bring the person who owns the money to court so they can present themselves. And what I have to say is that they actually had to sign the judgment over to me. So basically it went into basically almost in my name, like I can represent this person, so they didn't have to go to court. So that was part of the other the good deal. So they can go to work and not worry about it, and I can go get the money for them. So I had to show up to court. So there's that too, okay? I had to work when the court was open, and I had to submit, say I want to go to court and they give me a date, so I can't control the date. Say if I have like an appointment or something with a doctor or something like that, and if I already had it like set up, or if I have like my niece is going to have a dance recital or something like that. I don't know how that works, but they would have to give me a date, and I'd have to be at that time. Okay, it's basically being at a job. It's like you have to be there. If you miss it, then I don't know what would happen. It would just mean not winning the case, right? So that would really, really suck. So I had to be there. So there's other costs involved. Not only there's a lot of time involved with what I was doing. There's some I didn't necessarily. I guess I had an employee. I had someone that was a notary, so I had to have stuff notarized, where I had to have that person stamp it because I can't stamp my own, I can't notarize my own stuff. So it's basically I had to hire another employee or an employee to stamp my stuff so it could be legalized, right? So it's not like I really paid him a lot, but still it's a service that I had to like rely on. You know, say if he's not available for that day, I'd have to wait another day, so that would kind of suck. So it's just kind of a pain in the butt. You don't have complete control. And then just a couple of years of doing that, I'm like, you know, this really, really sucks. I can't go on vacation. I mean, I could, but then I'm not making any money. So I'm not making any money when the courts are closed. I'm not making any money when I'm like really sitting there writing all these names down that, you know, you can't find anybody. You know, it just kind of sucks. So I got introduced to network marketing, and I had no clue what it was. There's words that I didn't know about, like traffic, because I knew you drove in traffic. Now I know how to drive traffic, okay? And you know, it's like I didn't know what a blog was. I didn't know. I actually didn't even have Facebook until 3 years ago. So it's like you could be brand new, have no clue what to do online, and make the switch, and all of a sudden learn this really cool stuff. It's actually pretty fun because we have a team of people that will help. Okay, because we've all been there, all right? So everybody struggles. It's normal. But not everybody wants a judgment recovery service. Not everybody wants a McDonald's. Not everybody wants a Dairy Queen. You know what I mean? It's like everybody wants to have that freedom, and that's what we're all going after, and we can help, okay? So so that's pretty much it. Is that what you were looking for, Laura?
No, that's awesome, and you hit on so many key points, and you're right. Like, we're here to help people do what they want to do and be passionate about. And with what we do inside of the company that we're affiliates for, MLSP, you have the opportunity to do whatever it is that you're passionate about. So, for example, if you own a brick and mortar, like if you're on this right now watching the replay or live and you say, well, I have a brick and mortar, how is this helping me? Well, if you have a brick and mortar business, you want people to advertise for you, right? Do you love the people who come and like do marketing for you? Or are you of the mindset, well, no one's going to market the way I would market because no one would say about my business exactly what I would say about my business, right? You don't really have a lot of control over it. So if you have a brick and mortar business right now, inside of MLSP, it offers you a tool set to be able to market your brick and mortar business online with all the training necessary to market on, you know, Snapchat, which I'm a non-snapper, right? But Snapchat is on there, Facebook Live, Twitter. I tell people I'm Twitter. My team laughs about that. It's pretty funny. Amazing Twitter training. Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, you name it. There's training on it. Blogging, email marketing, SEO, which is search engine optimization. So if you're a brick and mortar business owner and you want to get the word out because you're passionate about your brick and mortar business, we're not telling you to leave it, right? We're helping you have more success to go towards it. Then MLSP is something that you would need to be able to get the training necessary to market it successfully online. And there's even a funnel. Besides the blog that you get, there's a funnel that you can create to send to your customers, because if you have a brick and mortar business, I know you're getting your email address, right? And you can email your customers to your page and stuff and create a website and all that good stuff. So this is perfect for people who have brick and mortar businesses already, and it's also perfect for people who have brick and mortar businesses and don't want them anymore, because they're realizing maybe it's too much of a pain than it is what they want, and it's a hassle, and they want to switch over to online marketing. And also for people who don't own their business at all yet, and they want to online market and they just don't know how, MLSP is something you can get started with and market it, right? You can market MLSP because it teaches people how to market. And then if you find something that you're really passionate about, you can literally, like Katie said, the world is your oyster, because we're not saying you have to market this or you have to sell this, you have to sell that. You can put whatever you want on the back end of it. You can create funnels to go wherever you want, whatever you're passionate about selling, right? I hate the word selling because I don't feel like a salesperson. I provide value to people. We provide value to people. That's all we do. We're not selling anyone anything, but I guess technically the word, the term is selling, because we profit when people join, right? But that's how you make money. So really great, Katie. I appreciate you sharing those things. I want to move over on to Chris, aka Pops, love that nickname, right? Who for a few years had a family building maintenance franchise, and he can share his experience on that. And a lot of the things that he can share too is just like the physical wear and tear on you and the people, you know, that are doing the business with you as well. So, Chris, if you want to unmute yourself and come on, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was, you're right, on the physical thing. Boy, I got so many pains yet that's reserved, you know, after doing scrubbing floors and cleaning whatever it is and pressure washing, and it is a big wear and tear. I got shoulder issues, and that they're not going to go away ever, and that's just the way it is. And just from working, well, I was working actually a full-time job, a part-time job, and I was doing some building maintenance and decided a franchise thing would be better, so I joined a franchise, and they would find actually business for me, and I would decide whether I wanted to clean that particular building or not, and this was basically just cleaning. I did floors too on the side, so I had some of that going on. That would be scrub and recoat floor wax and stuff like that, and I still do that for some select customers that I have had for years. But it was tough to get and keep employees, and so I kept it as a family business, but they got burnt out too because of physical issues and not being able to do anything. We had to be there. You got to be there to clean these buildings, and I don't know, it's kind of an oxymoron. It's not hard, but it is hard. You got to stay on top of everything. You have to know what to do, what to touch, what not to touch. That's important. You got to stay away from the desktops, and there's some areas of buildings you can't go in and shouldn't go in. And so there's a lot of rules and regulations to follow. And so when it started to fizz out, and again, I was again working full-time, part-time, and then I had the business, and I was doing the floors, and I was doing the setups. I had one customer that had meetings and stuff, so that the building had to be set up for meetings, and I did that part, and that had to be done like early morning, and I also had customers that had special things. Actually, I got woke up in the middle of the night because a water line broke at 2 buildings that I had, and had to get in there and get it cleaned up right away because they were actual brick and mortar, and I was not totally brick and mortar because I had kept everything at home. And so I had to get up in the middle of the night and get my equipment packed up and head over there and clean all that up and be done before they opened up for business the next day. And the amount of investment I had in the equipment was thousands of dollars. And then when we finally did phase out after a couple of years, I had to sell most of it off. There was no sense keeping it. And it was a quarter of what I paid for it, of course, because it was used. And I had so much stuff. I had mops and buckets, and I had scrub machines, and I had an auto walk-behind cleaner and scrubber machine and all that stuff. It was just unbelievable how much I had involved in it. And then paying the family, you know, they had to get their pay. So I really, personally, I wasn't making much money on it because, of course, they needed to have a living wage. And just being the overseer of it and not expanding. We had, I think, at one point, 8 buildings, and that was like, there was 2 of them that had to be done in one night, and the rest of them were spread out on different nights, so it worked out okay in that regard. But there was travel time getting to them, come rain or shine, snow. We're in Minnesota, so there was all kinds of snow issues, and you had to be there. There was no exception. No matter what it took, you had to be there to get it done. Vacation time, forget about it. You know, you could maybe get another franchisee in to help, which I did that for a few guys, but we had just to the point where we just couldn't go anywhere. And I worked full-time and I had vacation time, but I couldn't use it for anything, so it accumulated, fortunately, but that is neither here nor there. And after that phased out, I did continue doing the floors and some other things. And there was building repairs that I got into after I retired from the post office. A friend of mine and I got together, and we partnered up, and we were fixing the buildings as well as I was still doing the floors. No more janitorial stuff, which, you know, I know people kind of look down on janitorial stuff, but actually it is a lot of work, and it's a necessary entity, but it's brutal. Actually, I had to work on Easter Sunday one time, and it was snowy, kind of snowy and sleety, but they needed to have their awnings pressure washed, and I was out there pressure washing those things in that kind of environment, on a Easter Sunday because the whole building was shut down, and that's the only time you could do that stuff. So there's so many weird parameters that you fall into when you have your own business that is just totally unacceptable to normal people, if you want to call it that. They just wouldn't do it. And I don't blame them. This network marketing is just so fantastic and comparable. I was able to break away yesterday because I had things to do, and I didn't have to worry about it because my business is on autopilot. I got all the links out there, and I have everything going for me, so I didn't have to be standing on it, and I didn't have to worry about calls in the middle of the night anymore. I don't have to worry about a big investment, and that's the hugest part of it, having the investment and not getting the return on it. And Laura touched on the franchise, McDonald's, and I know other franchises, some of them, when you want to buy a franchise, sometimes you have to buy a franchise where they have already pre-selected. They put it in place, and they have one of their team put it up and build the business up, and then you buy into it. And whether it's a good place where it's located or not doesn't matter. You may not be able to get the customers that you expect to come in, especially if you don't work it the way they do. And they advertise huge to get people in there, but then that budget goes over to you, and then you have to advertise to get the people in there. And if your budget is more limited than the franchise people, or the owner of the franchise, then you're going to start declining, just the way it is. And I have known people that have had to close the doors because of that. And then when that happens, they still owe the company what they paid for the franchise. And it's just unbelievable. And so the network marketing thing is fantastic. And I know other people that use it for their business, the brick and mortar, to get the word out. And they blog about what they're in, and they get people drawn in. They know the SEO, or they have somebody doing it for them, and they're using that. I know a funeral guy who's doing that. So he's drawing in families that need to bury their family, and he's getting cold people coming in because of the internet and the blogging and getting content out and sharing how things work in a funeral industry. Some of the behind the scenes and some of it, the emotional stuff and all that goes along with it. And he has a team that he uses to meet with the family before and after for grief and all that stuff. But that's all, a lot of it is neighborhood stuff and reoccurring business that comes in from families, but a lot of it is coming in cold because of what he's doing with the internet and how he can blog, excuse me, and get his word out. And if I had known that back then, I never would have got into what I was in, ever. So, but the money thing is unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Chris. And I want to bring up something that Chris said, too, talking about vacation. It's one thing if you work as an employee for a large company, like McDonald's or a Walmart or a Target, and you take vacation. There's other people that can fill your shoes while you're on that vacation. But like Chris said, you take a vacation, there's no opportunity for that, for what he was doing in his franchise, cleaning places. Like, life goes on for them. You might want a vacation, but they still need their buildings cleaned. And so guess what? If you decide to take a vacation, guess what? They find someone else to clean while you're on your vacation. And then when you come back, you could have lost that business completely, lost that income just because you wanted a break, right? Like, seriously. So that's a huge thing to think about. And also, Chris touched on, having to pay people, especially, because he had a family franchise, and paying the family because they need, pay as well. And I wrote this down. In your profit is how you pay your employees, but you only have X amount of profit because you have to pay overheads, right? Well, let's say that you have employees who are super excited, and they want to advance and they want to do this and want to do that. You're limited to what you can give them. You're limited to how much you can pay them, because if you only make X amount of dollars, or because your profit's only X amount, it's not like you can give, a bazillion-dollar raise or give them all these extra things or extra tools, So for the people who are motivated and you want to give them more, you don't really have a vehicle to give them more. And then let's look at the flip side of it. Let's say sometimes as a business owner, you might want more for your employees than they want for themselves. And I think before we talked about this a little bit, Chris, before the call, which is, sometimes employees are just like, whatever, they get tired of it, but you want more for them than they want for themselves. And you know, that makes it difficult too. And here's the thing. With what we do inside of MLSP, you can offer them the same things that you have, right? The same tools that you have, you can offer to people. So if you have people that you know who have brick and mortar businesses, you can go to them and say, hey, here is a tool set. Here is a toolkit that you need to be able to be successful online marketing your business, right? And that's something, you know, if you do have a brick and mortar as well, that you can offer your employees as a tool set to be successful and things like that. So I just wanted to bring that up as well, because you're limited as a business owner with you to motivate your employees. But when you are working as an affiliate inside of the company that we're an affiliate for, MLSP, then you can offer people the same knowledge and value that you have for them to be able to turn around and make as much profit as they want, right? So I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming out and sharing that story with us, Chris. Now I want to hop back over to Katie because I think she has a story she wants to tell before we go to Teresa.
Yeah, real quick. It's actually a funny story now. My pops is my dad, if you haven't figured that out yet. So I was part of the family that he paid. I had to have the income because we're all older kids that we just wanted the job, and he brought the whole family in, so he paid us. So he touched on some of the buildings. He got kind of an idea. So you got the office building. He also said funeral homes, right? Which I wanted to go back to what Pop said, was that funeral homes have been using blogs to get cold traffic in, which is kind of like a pun to me. I wanted to laugh because cold, you know, funeral, cold, dead people. Okay. Anyway, so that's not the funny story. The funny story is, so we had to go to these funeral homes and we cleaned, and it was at after hours, okay? And this is kind of a creepy story too. So one of the things that my pops had purchased is a backpack vacuum cleaner. I don't know if you guys seen those before, where you can actually put the backpack or the vacuum cleaner on your back like a backpack, so it could be mobile, right? It has a really long cord, like 50 feet or whatever, and you just have this thing, you know. It's really cool actually, but your back gets really hot and sweaty. So anyways, we're in this funeral home. It has like a 2-floor funeral home, and I cleaned up. My dad dropped me off. I was there all by myself. It was creepy, okay, but you know, my mind likes to play tricks on me. So I get the whole top floor done, and I go down to the bottom floor, and I'm cleaning underneath the couch. And the way that I had it, the vacuum cleaner, all of a sudden, you know, I know that like right down the hallway, there's like this hallway that looks all tile, and I know that's the morgue down that hallway. Okay, that's creepy. So I'm cleaning underneath this couch, and I bend down to get underneath the couch, and all of a sudden the hose fell and tapped me on the shoulder, and I freaked out. Oh my God! I'm like, I better hurry up and just finish this. So I just told my dad that it's like, I don't ever want to be there by myself ever again. That is too creepy. So I just wanted to share that.
That is too funny. Oh my gosh, I would flip that. I honestly don't know that I could clean in a place like that at night. That would just freak me out a little bit too much. But I feel you, yeah, I can't imagine that at all whatsoever. But thanks for sharing that story. So I want to move on over to Teresa now. Teresa owned a computer repair shop and web design business for 8 years, and she, like I said, had a physical, you know, open door brick and mortar business, and she's going to come on and talk to us about all the costs associated with that that she experienced, you know, and the overheads and things like that. So Teresa, come on out and share your story.
Thanks, Laura, for having me here. I appreciate that. And I love sharing my story because I think that a lot of people, they have a dream and they have a big vision of starting a business, and they think if they start a store, you know, you throw the store up and people will come. It kind of reminds me of even websites too. You know, if you build it, they will come. That Field of Dreams movie. You know, but that's not always the case. And I really found that out over the period of 8 years. I ran a brick and mortar store in a historic downtown area in Wisconsin, and a small town, only about 10,000 people here. And the historic downtown, years ago, people used to have apartments. They would live above their business, you know. So I thought, oh great, I have apartments above my business that I can rent out. That'll pay for the business, you know. So I thought, oh, this is going to be cheap. It's going to basically pay for itself. Not. Come to find out, the apartments were in poor shape. They needed a lot of repairs, and we actually started out with our business in, well, shortly after my daughter was born, because I was doing call center work and I just couldn't stand it, taking inbound calls, trying to sell people stuff that I didn't like, and I was starting to say the script that I had to say in my sleep, practically, so that's when it's time to quit. You just get kind of tired of it. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to be mom. I'm not going to go back to work. I want to this time, it's my second daughter. I don't want to miss anything. So I started, we started with my ex-husband, we started a brick and mortar business. He fixed the computers and I did the web design, and I had clients. Now I started out doing clients at home, and I thought, I have enough people now where, I'm charging good money for websites, and back then there wasn't a whole lot of people that knew how to build their own. They didn't have all these companies out that you could just throw up a website and you want it done, and still, I firmly believe that a lot of those companies, you only have just so much control, and I wish that business owners would know that. So I thought, okay, this will be cool, because I had a little bit of marketing experience kind of on the side. Everything that I learned, by the way, if you guys ever see me at calls or on my channel, I've taught myself. I have not went to school for any of the things that I speak of. So, and I really think that some people are visual and you learn more that way. But back to the story. So I thought, well, if I start this business and I can, show people how to build a website or build it for them, some of that will actually pay for the business, and then people will come in for repairs. They'll see the sign in the window. No, but at that time I was just starting to learn some SEO. And there was a computer store up the street, and people would Google me. They would Google like computer repair in my town, and I said, "How did you find us?" Because it's really hard to get in the phone book. It was very expensive. It was about $600 to get in the phone book. So if you are currently a brick and mortar business, listening to this call, listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. The phone book is not your friend. And the thing that with MLSP, like Laura was saying, and I think Chris was talking about this a little bit too, is if a business, a small business, even a mom and pop shop, could look larger and expand their business worldwide. What if you could sell your services or products worldwide? Wouldn't that be awesome? I can tell you, you will not do that from that $600 2-inch square ad in the yellow pages. Just ain't going to happen. And so the advantage that you can use for this is definitely to learn to market your business to a larger market. So if you decide to stay in a brick and mortar business and you love what you do and you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And learn to market it. So I had that advantage come to me a little bit, and I thought, okay, good. So I'm doing some stuff with the Google. Well, things happened. The apartments needed repair. And there was people that would call wanting computer repair after hours. We did house calls. People would, and being a web designer, some people say, oh, that's easy. It looks like fun. It can be fun, but it can also be a total pain in the rear pursuit. Because if something happens at 12 a.m. and you're sleeping, you may have a customer call you and expect you to get up and fix it. Like now. The web server's down, this is not working, I need this changed by 7 a.m. and you become married to your business. So I had tenants upstairs in 2 apartments that complained. I had, yeah, Chris says, I know. I had repairs. I had to put on about a new roof on the building shortly after I decided to start leasing the building on a land contract, because I thought, oh, this is going good, I could own this. Roof repair costs to put a rubber roof on an old historic building, almost $9,000. And a lot of people don't have that money sitting around, and I sure didn't. I had to borrow it. And in the end, I was the secretary, the bookkeeper, the greeter, and you were married to your business. And here's the thing too, like in the computer repair industry, someone was saying, they had to keep inventory, just little things. We decided not to do a whole lot. Because we could order it and have it within a day, or they could bring it in and we can install it or whatever. But you still have those things to worry about. You have to be everybody. And it came to the point where things were not covering themselves. you know? I mean, you know, the bills were due, and the roof payment was due, and the building payment was due, and all of a sudden nobody was walking in, you know? I mean, I painted my ass off on this big glass window, you know, trying to get people's attention. You know, every Christmas I would put out a big, you know, a big display, you know, with the moving things, and those things weren't cheap either. You know, I put a computer up there and mixed slideshows, you know, and people would stop and watch in the window, but that wasn't making them come in. They watch a slideshow, you know. I mean, I have the ability to do that, but still, it wasn't working, you know. And I'm now finding out that a brick and mortar business is really not the thing. Now, currently, I still do, you know, I still have clients and so forth for web design. But if it weren't for me learning internet marketing through my years of experience and self-taught, you know, with graphics and so forth, I would not be able to position my clients ahead of their competition on search engines. Would not. And they come to me and they say, how did you do that? And I just look at them and I go, ancient Chinese secret. But it's because of what I've learned over the years. Everything is self-taught. You know, and that's the thing about, you know, being a web designer too. If you choose that you're going to make, you know, WordPress sites for somebody, fine. Someone, and I think it was someone mentioned about, you know, you could have a business but nobody was coming in. If you are a web designer and you have the knowledge to make a pretty site, cool. But I think, as Chris was saying, you know, you could be out there and nobody would come. It's like saying, I can build I'm from Wisconsin, so you could put a big-ass billboard out in the middle of a cow pie field and nobody drives by. That's what a pretty website is without knowing SEO, which means search engine optimization, being able to be found, you know, online. And that is actually what this business and other internet marketing businesses teach you. You know, my past experience, I did gain a little experience before this. I've actually been, you know, doing this sort of thing now since about, I want to say 2000, maybe a little bit before that. I kind of dabbled in it because I was interested in it. I thought, you know, how are people making money online? And I made a lot of mistakes. You have to, the options are between brick and mortar. And I'll tell you this because I went through this myself. I've tried surveys. I've tried several different, you know, online businesses. We won't list them all, but you have to find the one that fits you and is actually legitimate. Something that's legitimate, something that is going to residually pay you, you know. The only way that the brick and mortar business was residually paying me is if I went to work. And I tell you what, I got to be a mom, but it got to the point where I was practically living at my business. I was married to it. My kids would, you know, come there after school, and there, you know, I was telling Laura earlier, yeah, I got to be a mom, but I was working, and the kids would come after school, and they would, you know, be hooked to a TV. That was like the digital babysitter, because I had to work, you know. So the difference there is now, and I'll share this story because I kind of shared this last week, but those of you who didn't see last week, you'll hear about it now. In this business, and results are not typical or guaranteed, I actually have been able to generate a residual income that I know is going to happen every month because I have a faithful team. And I haven't been able to actually work the last few months simply because I've been settling my mother's estate. And time is precious. I mean, if you're thinking about starting a business, do it. You know, don't wait for someone else's approval. No one else's opinion ever pays your bills. You know, but make an informed and educated decision. Think about it. I mean, do you really want to deal with inventory? Do you really want to deal with all the crap that could come up? You know, do you really want to go through that? I believe now, after experiencing both and working in the corporate world, you're just a number. It's hard to get vacation. If you go and start a brick and mortar business, I didn't get a chance to go on vacation. There was no vacation because if I take vacation, I had to shut the store down. So when the store is shut down, am I making money? No. In this business, when I'm out sorting through boxes of my mother's belongings for 40 years, or I have to, you know, go to a parade for my daughter or something like that, she's in the band. And I can say since I've started this network marketing business online and being a freelancer, I'm much happier, I'm less stressed, and I've been able to be there for my children. I have not missed a single one of my daughter's concerts ever, whereas, you know, her father, he has had to miss some because, you know, he has some sort of job. I don't know, we're not married anymore, but he has some sort of job where he's not allowed to, you know, do that sort of thing. And I look at that as, that is priceless, you know, like they say Visa and MasterCard priceless. Well, network marketing, priceless, and I wouldn't do it any other way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I really appreciate that. And that was just a huge synopsis of everything, you know, of a brick and mortar business and all the costs that it costs you, not monetarily, not just monetarily, but mentally, emotionally, physically as well, like Chris and Kate also touched on. And one thing I want to say before I get final thoughts from everyone is, you know, when you have a job somewhere or you create a brick and mortar business for yourself because you want to go into business for yourself, you know, when you get started and you're brand new, you're alone. You know, you're trying to figure it out. And what I want to say about MLSP and the community that we have is that you're not alone. You know what I mean? We are a community of like-minded people that are here to help each other. You know, like when you start a job and you get training, at least when you have a job, you get training, right? Normally they put you in front of videos or whatever. But then if you want the inside scoop, you got to ask other employees what's going on or how it works. Now, if you start a brick and mortar, you don't necessarily get any training. You know, maybe if you're franchisee, then you get training from wherever your franchise is from. But other than that, you've got to figure it out on your own. And it's so important to understand, especially if you're brand new, looking to get started owning your own business from home, online, to be a part of a community that is here to help one another, that you're not alone, that you can ask questions, that you're part of a culture who lifts one another up and has trainings all the time that you can participate in and ask questions to anyone who did the trainings anytime and not feel alone. This isn't a lottery ticket, folks. This isn't, so many people have this concept, oh, well, if I get started, you know, it's been X amount of dollars and then sit in front of my computer for 15 minutes a day, that money is just going to rain down on me. And it's not. I'll be the first to tell you that some of the hardest working people I have ever met in my life are online business owners, because you know what? We'll work 80 hours a week on our business to have the time freedom that we want, so we don't have to go work 40 hours for the man. You know what I mean? Building someone else's dream, because we love what we do and we're passionate about it. And the reason we do is because, the reason we love and we're passionate about what we do is because it allows us the time freedom to live the way that we want, right? We bust our tails now so that in the future we can live the way we want, the way that other people won't be able to because they're not willing to do the work, right? But it's awesome. We love what we do. So before we close up, I want to go through each of the panelists and have them hop on and say what it is that they love the most about working online from the comfort of their home or the beach or wherever they feel like working from for that day, right? And just share the success that they've had and seen inside of online internet marketing, how long they've been doing it. And I'll also check over here in the chat and see if anyone has any questions. But I want to bring Katie out first because she's got to hop off here in a second. So Katie, if you want to come on and share some closing thoughts with me, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Thanks, Laura. So the things that I've been in network marketing, I started in early April 2013. And like I said before, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what a blog was. I didn't know network marketing. I didn't know anything. I'm like, what is marketing? What are you talking about? Anyways, and so when I got to learn this stuff, it intrigued me because I realized after a while that I was learning the skills that would actually last me a lifetime, because I can use these skills for anything, to market anything, you know, to sell anything. And it's really powerful stuff. And what's so great, and there's a hair floating around, I don't know if you saw that. What's so great is that the training that we have inside MLSP is actually, there's a lot, but then you can pick and choose. And what I suggest is pick a strategy and just that fits your personality and just do it until you master it. Then you can go on to something else. I promise you that'll help you from bouncing around, getting all like, you know, all over the place, because I wish someone told me that when I first started. You know, I wasn't plugged into an awesome team. And like I told Laura this, like, I can't believe I'm on Team No Sleep. After 3 years, you know what I mean? Because I've known Laura for like 3 years now. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. This is crazy. So it feels really good to know that we have the support here. And if you are sitting on the fence, okay, it's not comfortable. Get off that fence, make the decision and just do it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I love that. If you're sitting on the fence, it's not comfortable. That's true. Sitting on the fence is not comfortable and make a decision, you know. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier after Chris spoke about, you know, wanting more for employees than, you know, they want for themselves. In this business, you know, I said we have the opportunity to give them the same tools and they can turn around and reuse them for themselves and make as much money as they want. But if they're not interested in it, then they can just move on. You know what I mean? We're not constantly, you know, trying to force people to do things. It's all about people having passion for and doing what it is that, you know, they are happy about doing in their life and they're passionate about. So thank you. I appreciate you coming on tonight, Katie. I know you got to jump off here soon. So thank you, and hopefully we'll see Katie on another panel here again super soon. Let me move right along to Chris Stage, a.k.a. Pops. Chris, if you could share your closing thoughts about online marketing, how long you've been in online marketing, and some of the success that you've had with it, that would be great.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, I've been in online marketing for about 3.5 years, and it's just the most fantastic thing I ever did. I'm learning, like Katie said, all the skills that I can take with me anywhere I go, and I can work it anywhere I go. My goal in the future, near future, is to get a motorhome and travel the United States, Canada, wherever, and I can do this wherever I land, and I can make my home wherever I want to be. And I'm really looking forward to that, and I know I can still continue to do what I'm doing and still see what I want to see in the United States, Canada, Mexico, possibly, whatever. And again, I can travel anywhere I want to go in the world and still do it, as people do. So fantastic. And any of you people that do have a brick and mortar, again, I mentioned before, I know people that are using internet marketing to promote their business, and through that, they're making it so much easier on themselves. And some of them don't have employees because they'd rather cut their arm off than have an employee, because that is one of the worst uphill battles you can have. Even if it's family, it's still an uphill battle, trying to get them to show up, try to let them have a smile when their heart really isn't it, because it's not theirs. And that's just the bottom line. It's not theirs. And when you have your own business, I love having affiliates. I like having team members because their heart's in it, because it's their own business. They have their own interests, and they can target their own interests and not mine. And that's the biggest, most important thing that you can have when you're dealing with other people, so that they can have what they want instead of working for what you want. Success is almost, well, it's not automatic, but if you put in the time and you put in the work, you most likely will succeed, because all the people that I know have by putting in the time. And thanks for having me on, Laura.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that, and that's so true. I mean, you know, when you're so passionate about what you do, if you have a brick and mortar and then you hire people and you try to instill that same passion into them, and if they just don't get it or they're not interested, then you spent so much of your time, effort, and energy. And like I said, with this, you know, you provide the tools and things. If someone just decides it's not for them, then they can move on. But for people who are as just ecstatic and passionate and determined as each of us are on this panel, it's there for the taking, right? There is no $8 an hour times 40 hours a week equals X amount of dollars every week, and you can't make anything more than that. You literally have the ability to control your own income working for yourself online from home, and I absolutely love it. So I want to move right along to Ms. Teresa. Teresa, if you could share how long you've been in internet marketing, working online from home, and some of your experiences and successes inside of it, that'd be great.
Okay, so I started actually dabbling in internet marketing in about, I want to say, 2008. So we're looking at about 8 years. And, you know, I've had jobs on the side, of course. Well, the internet marketing was the job on the side until I decided to just say, you know what, I'm just going to do this. And, you know, like Katie had mentioned earlier, if you're on the fence, you know, that's the worst place to sit. Either you're going to do it or you're not, you know. To be real adult-like, my father was in the military, and he always said, either crap or get off the pot. You know, so I mean, if you're, and And that's like the nice way to say it. But if you're going to do it, then do it. You know, if you want to start your own business, that's your dream. That's your dream. No one else is ever going to understand your journey. Okay. And and so anyway, I dabbled in it, and one of the things that I like the most is probably, I want to say, in the last 4 to 5 years that I've been doing this, working from home, I really have been able to do a lot of the things that I enjoy, that I really missed in life. You know, the first times with kids, as I talked about, you know. I remember, and Laura will probably laugh about this, the first time that my daughter got on a bike. You know, she got off her training wheels, and I watched her come up the big long driveway, and she picked up all her feet and said, "Cock-a-doodle-doo, I'm riding a bike." You know, it was just funny. But had I have not been a stay-at-home mom and been working this kind of business, I would have missed that, because it was during the, you know, it was during the day on a Saturday. And when I worked in a call center, you had to work at least 2 weekends a month, and then a holiday. You know, and if you want a vacation, you had to request it like 3 months in advance and all that kind of stuff. And you don't do that. My one advice would be, if you want a lifestyle of freedom, there is no magic button. This is not Staples. You can't say, "I have an online business, bam, I hit the lotto." And so many of my students that I coach, they think that, you know, if I just do this, and then I wait, and I wait some more, nothing will happen. Nothing is going to happen unless you make it happen and you want it. If you are stuck in the job mindset, and I talk to so many people, and I will say this, I talk to so many people who are stuck in the job mindset that says, "I can't afford to have my own online business because I only make X amount per week." When you stop thinking like that, and I used to think people were freaking crazy telling me this, when you stop thinking about that and you say, "I don't have the money," you got to turn your questions around and say, "How can I make this happen?" Not how, you know, not I can't. Because our mind, when we're awake, our mind will make an excuse of a reason not to, and I did that. You know, I don't know, but I've been able to see so many more things now since I've been in internet marketing. Results are not typical. You got to work your ass off, and I will tell you that is something that you have to stay consistent at. There's no magic button, but I've been able to see, you know, the Grand Canyon, different states, all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, if you're sitting on the fence, just remember, everyone else's opinion never paid your bills. This is your life, your decision. Start your journey today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Teresa. That was powerful. I just appreciate each and every single one of you guys that came on tonight. Chris, Katie, and Teresa, you guys are so powerful. And I'm going to close out and say a few things too here. I put in a little chat here. I was like, I'm gonna close this out strong, right? Because I'm so passionate about what it is that I do, and share a little bit about me. For those of you who don't know, obviously, I've said my name is Laura Parrish, Team No Sleep, blah, blah, blah. But I've been an internet marketer for just over 4 years, literally brand new. And much like Katie said, I was clueless. I mean, people were talking about like SEO and what is it? I still don't even know what it is. When you pay for click CPA? No. See, I don't know. See, obviously I'm not even all there. But anyway, the point being is like, I didn't know what a blog was. I didn't know how to blog. I didn't know how to do anything online. I only knew one thing. All I knew was I was flipping sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I was sick and tired of not being able to provide for my kids the way I wanted to provide for my kids. I was sick and tired of being married for over 10 years and not being able to have money to go on dates with my spouse. I was sick and tired of living that way, and I knew that there just had to be a better way. I knew there had to be, and I knew I was meant for more. I knew I was meant to impact and help people change their lives, but I had to figure out how to do it for myself first. And I started researching, and I found online marketing, and it has opened up a world of possibility. And the reason we're so passionate about what we do, and that's why the team, like my team name is Team No Sleep, whatever that we're all on, is because it's about success never sleeps. It's not about you can't go to sleep. It's about you don't want to because you're afraid that you might miss the opportunity to help someone else who was feeling just the way I was feeling when I got started, which is, I need help. How do I do this? How do I figure this out? Like, where do I go? What do I do? Just show me the way, and I'll put in the work, right? That's who I was, and I desire to help people just like that. So I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this call live or the replay, click on the button below this video or below the chat and get signed up. It will sign you up with the person who invited you to this call, and I promise you that they are ecstatic and excited and passionate about showing you that you too have the ability to change your life. I mean, guys, income disclosure results not typical, but guess what? Who wants to be typical? I don't want to be typical. The people on this panel don't want to be typical. And if you're watching this right now and hearing my voice, I know you don't want to be typical either, because your heart is racing about the thought and the excitement of the ability to literally change your life, change your family's life, and create your own income. I have made hundreds of thousands of dollars inside of internet marketing in just over 4 years. Like I said, income disclaimer. And that is because I made a decision that I wasn't going to live the way I was living before anymore, right? And I did whatever it takes. You have the opportunity. You have every capability to do the same. All you have to do is believe that it's possible and get started by clicking on the link below, because it is possible. And we in this community, in our culture, are here to believe in you until you can believe in yourself. Trust me, it is possible. And when you make your first commission, this light bulb, I promise you, will go off in your head where you say, if I can make $5, I can make 50, and if I can make 50, I can make 500, and if I can make 500, I can make 5,000, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. It will completely change your life. That I can promise you. So I thank you guys. I appreciate you tonight. If you want to meet any of us live, right, in person, you can come to Austin, Texas. We're going to be there August 13th and 14th. I'll be there August 11th through 15th, but everyone will definitely be there August 13th and 14th at the Live the Dream 7 event. All you got to do is click on the link below to get started for a $10 10-day test drive inside of MLSP, and you will see all the amazing things that we've talked about, all the amazing training, the amazing community, calls, libraries, the whole gamut is here for your taking. We're all here to be of service to you. And if you want to meet us live in Austin, Texas, we would just be ecstatic to meet you live. So thanks for joining us this Sunday night, May 29th, 2016. Make sure you tune in next Sunday night, which will be, what, June 5th, 2016. We're going to be discussing another amazing topic with some panelists on as well. And if you missed any part of this replay, or you want to share it with friends, family, or anyone that you think might be interested in the difference between brick and mortar businesses versus online, and how one can cost you millions and more, and one can make you millions and more, then make sure you send them to the link that you came to tonight. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you. Have a fantastic night, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.